The I-Team is uncovering dozens of homes right here in the Triangle once used to manufacture methamphetamine. Now they've got new families inside them, families who might have even moved in without ever being told about the home's history.
So the big question is, how can this happen? I-Team reporter John Camp investigating. So John, why wouldn't that information have to be disclosed?
You know, there are a lot of things in North Carolina that don't always have to be disclosed, from meth in the house to a death in the house. How much you might learn about a home's history depends on where you're getting the information.
Every once in a while, you'll see this on the news. Investigators in white hazmat suits picking over nondescript homes in quiet neighborhoods. Those suits protecting the people in them from dangerous chemicals used to make methamphetamine. The I-Team, digging in federal databases, found more than 30 houses in Wake County alone, once so-called meth homes. Statewide, the number tops 1,000.
There was an incident with meth in the house.
Elaine Patrone lives next door to one of the houses on the list and was home when police made that bust.
I was home the day the DEA showed up and shut down the place. It was boarded up for about 6 months until everything got cleaned up.
They stripped everything out of it, as far as we know. The only thing they didn't do was demolish the house and rebuild it, but they pulled out all the insulation, everything. There was at least 2 dumpsters that were pulled out of here.
Jeff Spiller has lived around the corner from there for some 30 years. He remembers both the cleanup and the fire that tipped off investigators.
If there hadn't been the fire, nobody would have known it, and whatever chemicals might have been there could have been a problem.
Experts agree. Potential health risks in a home where meth was smoked and or made include breathing problems, skin and eye irritation, headaches, nausea, and dizziness. If there's high exposure, even for a short time, it can cause severe lung damage and burns, or even worse, death.
There are serious health risks.
Janet Thorne is a lawyer for the North Carolina Real Estate Commission.
If the property hasn't been properly decontaminated, dust particles that are left behind get in the carpet, they get chemicals get in the walls. If the meth is cooked down in the basement, it could be seeping into the soil, and the soil could be contaminated, and all of those things are serious potential health risks.
But Thorne says buyers may never know about those risks. The disclosure rules for banks, for instance, will change after foreclosures.
No disclosures are required.
No disclosures.
They are exempt from it, depending on how the transaction goes through, they are exempt from the law.
And therefore, a person could buy a home that was a meth home used to produce methamphetamine and may have dangerous chemicals in it.
And may have no idea what they're buying or whether or not the home was cleaned up.
That's not the case when brokers are involved. They're required to disclose anything that might affect the home's value. And Thorne says a former meth house would be on that list. But where brokers have to disclose a home's unsavory history, sellers in North Carolina do not. They do have to fill out this questionnaire, but they're not required by law to answer the questions. A seller can opt out, checking no representation.
North Carolina has typically been what's called a caveat emptor state, which means buyer beware.
Should people know?
They should know.
And to the person folks we talked with who live near former meth homes agreed. There ought to be a law.
They should change the law. There should be disclosure. There should be notices on the doors and everybody else's doors.
Would you ever buy a home in which meth had been made, or no?
No, absolutely not.
Not the house itself, definitely not.
All right, now we should point out, we talked with a number of tenants in these properties when we went knocking. They wouldn't talk to us on camera, but to the person they said they did know of the home's past and were comfortable living there. But they said knowing was key. Okay, also worth noting, in North Carolina, meth is just one of the things that sellers don't have to tell you about the others. Here are just a few of them, including violent deaths. A murder can be kept from buyers. In fact, that's specifically entrenched in state law. This is a whole other side to this story, and it's exclusively on our website, abc11.com.